Hi, update here on Bitcoin liquidity. Just looking here at the 2-hour chart, I look at 3 different indicators, all using a similar principle, but they show us different things. The time-weighted liquidity shows how long it takes for a build or a loosening in liquidity to wash out. Our liquidity sentiment gives us an idea of how deep liquidity has been previously and how deep it is now, how quick a rise is. It's quite similar to irregular liquidity, but it isn't taking into account the change between lit hours and unlit hours, being the Australasian and European markets. If we look here, we've come to quite a loose point, or a very loose point in Bitcoin. The last couple of times we've had it this loose is about 2 weeks ago, before we had a big drop off, and this subsequent bounce that we've had, which almost is just reactive liquidity. We had previously had a couple of little tops, but I would say that this is these loose bits of liquidity here is just bigger players slowly getting out of the market, and that's taken a while. There's been some buying back here and some more tightening here. That's probably market makers soaking up some of these sales here, and now we're into much more downward movement. And the last time we had a loose piece was last Sunday, before we saw a tweet from or discussions in the United States press about the Bitcoin reserve, the US reserve, and we had this huge day of about a 9% increase. But since then, it's reverted back, and it hasn't made a higher high, hasn't yet made a lower low, but I think it's on its way. It's really loosening at the moment. If we have a look at some of the other players in this space, more in the security space, which are affected by the indexes, here we have Mara. Mara's had quite good liquidity off the bottom. We can see that it's really tightened well. It had a couple of good tightening periods before we got to the bottom here, and we've had one good bounce, and again we're getting another good bounce happening. We can see that it into the close, it was quite tight. Hoping for a good weekend, I suppose. It was tightening up at the top of this flag here, and we can see all the layers disappearing down into a tighter period. It will be affected by the indexes. If we go and have a quick look at this, is the Russell, a Russell proxy. We can see that the Russell really has been building. It's had a long period of just slightly above average, so loosening liquidity as it's dropped down. But now we've had a building period, but that bounce has quickly been soaked up, and it looks quite negative on the 2-hour. Down on the 30-minute, it had quite a good day, and looked like it might keep going. It's definitely carried through some of this tightening, this illiquid. So we'll see what happens. I suppose it'll be driven by the main markets on Monday, the main indexes, to see what happens to the smaller ones. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that update.